Schroder. His nickname, I don't know if he like it or not. We have not had the conversation, but he's Dennis the Menace.
Just over the outstretched arms of Howard. That is so frustrating.
It's an honor for me to play here and try to compete for big things.
Schroder pulls up right side, right hand for the bucket. Dennis Schroder with 20 first half points.
For me, my game, I think I fit in perfectly. Energy, what I bring on defense and on offense, I think it fits perfectly to these two superstars and the other players as well.
Schroder set, fire, got another one.
I'm going to give everything I have every single day.
Dennis Schroder being traded to the Lakers was one of the biggest surprises in the offseason for the Purple and Gold. Heading into his 8th NBA season, Schroder is coming off a career year. He averaged close to 19 points a game, career high 39% from 3, while adding 4 assists per game. He's also expected to be an important piece alongside King James.
That's a huge part of this year's plan, is to have Dennis out there with LeBron, alleviating some of the pressure, but also his ability to play off the ball. That's what we love about him. They're going to see heavy minutes throughout the course of the year this year. We haven't seen a ton of it yet in practice, because most of our practice so far has been sort of like drill work more than live action, or 4-on-4s or things like that. But that combination is going to be one that we envision being a great one for us this year.
After watching you have so much success in Oklahoma City last year, and then of course here in LA, we watched Montrezl Harrell play great, especially alongside Lou Williams the last couple of years for the Clippers. I think Laker fans, envision that pairing of you two being pretty something special. I know it's only been a couple of days, but have you had a chance to kind of see what that might look like and how special that can be?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Clippers games. I know Lou very well. He was my veteran, in Atlanta. And I told Harold as well, when we on the floor together, it's going to be the 1-2 punch. It was really dangerous. And we practiced it together already, try to get a good feeling, better feeling each day. But it's going to be a good pick and roll option every time when we do it.
Guys, I think anytime you think of LeBron James, you think of 2 things when it comes to on the court: floor spacing, shooters, and then another playmaker alongside of him. Mark, how do you see Dennis Schroder really helping LeBron James in that aspect?
Well, I think, number one, he's going to reduce the ball handling duties that LeBron took on last year. And look, LeBron's really good at that. He led the league in assists for a reason. But when we're talking about load management and how do the Lakers trim the workload, well, here's a great example. And with Dennis Schroder, I know that a lot was made of his want to start, and we'll see how that plays. But I think the more important question is who finishes. And Schroder has a really good reputation for doing that. Look, I've voted for him 6th man of the year last year because he was part of 5-game closing lineups with the Thunder when they went 25-5. And he was a primary reason for that because he led the league in scoring. And so I think you're going to see a lot of ball handling and an additional guy that can hit a basket in crunch time when needed.
Yeah, I love what LeBron did last season. He did something he'd never done in his lengthy and prosperous career, led the league in assists, okay? Now he can ease off that burden a little bit. He doesn't have to be the guy bringing the ball up court or finding the guys for easy buckets. He can kind of lay low sometimes. I'm not saying he's going to take plays off, but when you have a guy like Schroder who can take over the assist and the distribution of the offense portion, it's going to happen. And let's not forget, Schroder, the 2nd leading scorer and 2nd leading assist guy for a playoff team in OKC last season. What a pickup for the Lakers.
I liked our question by our guy Geeter there with the whole combination of Trez alongside Dennis Schroder in those pick and roll situations. But then it just made my mind go to another degree, because you've got 2 of the best guys that play downhill in the game in LeBron and Anthony Davis. And you think of the combinations alongside a guy like Montrez who like to get to the rim. Yep. Have you thought or seen those visions in your head, Mark Medina, of Dennis Schroder operating that pick and roll?
I've definitely thought about that, because one of the reasons why there was success on the Clippers end last year, before obviously their playoff failures, is that 1-2 punch with Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell in the pick and roll game, and the fact that they're really good secondary scorers. And obviously Dennis Schroder, his game is different than Lou Williams, but they have similar mentalities in terms of scoring the ball a lot and running the pick and roll. So I think when you're looking at Harrell's game, you just plug him in there and he'll easily finish at the rim when Schroder's on the floor.
Yeah, Mark, I don't know who's going to start among those two. I would say that Schroder probably has a better chance of being in the starting lineup. He's already gone on record saying that, yeah, I'd like to start. And let's not forget he did start for his last couple years in Atlanta before joining the Thunder. So it's going to be interesting to see what Frank Vogel does. But if those two do come off the bench, Schroder and Trez, look out, because those two guys are going to cause a lot of chaos, a lot of pick and roll, and it's going to be trouble for other teams. Unlike the Lakers' second unit this past season, which was good, not always a big scoring unit, these two guys, if they come off the bench, it's going to be a lot of points from the non-starters.
So you guys are saying the Lakers have options. Take it from the female. Options is a good thing. The Lakers have a good thing in play. Still to come, the Larry O'Brien is, when it comes to LeBron James, communication, that open line of communication between he and the coach is very important. And Frank Vogel noting right there that they've already had some early discussions about his playing time. That load management, what are we anticipating, Mark, that looking like for King James this season?
I think the Lakers and LeBron are really going to try to thread the needle. Look, they're not going to go the Clippers route like they did last season, where they're just going to preemptively sit LeBron for the sake of doing it. But they're also not going to run him into the ground. So I think it just depends on how he's feeling health-wise. And then also looking at the schedule. Where can they afford to shave off minutes on this certain back-to-back? How is the game going in particular? And so I think with that, really the onus is on LeBron of trying to take care of his body as much as he can, but also on Anthony Davis and some of his other teammates to try to make life easier for LeBron James. And I think, especially because of the short turnaround, one of the themes to open this season is who can carry that mantle, whether it's a combination of Anthony Davis and some of his teammates or AD himself, so that LeBron doesn't have to use up all his energy right off the gate.
I'll tell you what, Mark, it feels like the offseason has lasted about 27 minutes. I mean, I need to be load managed, and I didn't even play any of these games this past season. Yeah, for sure. If you listen to what Frank Vogel and Rob Pelinka have been saying over the past few weeks, Frank basically said, yeah, you don't have to expect too much of LeBron in the preseason. And Rob Pelinka is saying, we're going to be in constant contact with LeBron and his representatives. You know, how's he feeling? How's he doing? Is he okay with the playing time we're giving him, the number of games we're giving him? And, of course, you're going to listen to the guy. Like you said, Ali, he's 36 in just a couple short weeks here. And he came off a really, really strong season, X's and O's, on offense and defense. So AD might slip into the load management talk a little bit, but it's more about LeBron since he is almost 10 years older than Anthony Davis.
Guys, I think another element to this that we also need to take into account is it's not the exact same roster from a season ago. And to a guy like LeBron James, chemistry and camaraderie matters. And it's not just talking about it, but it's actually going out and playing that through. So, Mark, I think that's going to be a big factor in this as well. No matter how much those new faces, Montrezl Harrell and Dennis Schroder, can handle a load like that in terms of scoring, you still need that time on the court together.
Great point, Allie. And I think that's one of the things that LeBron is very aware of, that he wants to accelerate that chemistry. And he also wants to set an example as a guy that's doing the work to create really good habits up and down the roster. And when you compare that, again, to the Clippers, it's obviously a different situation with Kawhi Leonard's injuries and Paul George's injuries, but they had a lack of chemistry. And I think because of that, they're always playing catch up. I think ideally the Lakers can maybe find ways for LeBron to rest once the initial wave of the first few weeks of the season start, because then they will have that foundation and then they can prepare some of these guys for bigger roles. And then that could lead them to feeling more ready for when the big moments come in the playoffs.
Yeah, there is little doubt that LeBron will play in the opener on the 22nd, of course, Christmas on the 25th. But they have a back-to-back on the 27th, 28th, as he played both those games. He'll probably play New Year's Day. And then maybe we'll see what happens. We'll be about 2 weeks into the season. Does he start to, kind of lateral a couple games here and there and say, you know what, we're okay. We're off to, say, like a 6-1 start. I'll sit out a game against whomever. They have a bunch against San Antonio. Not really supposed to be a playoff team. A couple against OKC in January. Not expecting much there either. It's going to be fascinating to see who's in and who's out on a nightly basis. But as you pointed out, you want to get your new guys on the same page as guys like LeBron and AD. So you want to kind of make sure LeBron's getting his rest, but also getting to know his new teammates as well.
The other thing, too, it's no better time right now than taking it day by day because we are still currently living in a pandemic.
Yeah, you got
so
that
we
right.
also don't know what that will look like either. Chris Haynes of Yahoo Sports tweeted the NBA implementing new resting policy for 2020-2021 season with teams prohibited from resting healthy players for any high-profile nationally televised game, and violation could result in a fine of at least $100,000. Mark, were you surprised by that at all?
Allie, not necessarily. I know the NBA had implemented a similar rule in 2017. So from my understanding, this was more of an updated version. But I think when you're looking at the business end of the NBA, what's very interesting is there's no longer the fan component of, people spending a lot of money to see this star player play in a road game or in a home venue. But there is the TV ratings component and the fact that that's a huge source of revenue for the league. So it's still, a really tough balancing act on how do you measure the league's financial bottom line interests and what might be best health-wise for each team and an individual player.
Yeah, these are very specific rules. You can't rest a guy on the road necessarily. So you want that team's local TV rights to be honored. You can't rest two star players at the same time. It's $100,000. So there's a lot of specific stuff in there for all these new rules. I thought the NBA would be a little more lax, especially towards teams that, just stopped playing in October. But no, they're charging full steam ahead, saying, look, the revenues have to keep coming. It's going to be mostly TV rights. You've got to keep the big names as well as the local TV broadcasters happy throughout the season.
That goes for you as well. I know you just talked about load managing. AJ said it's a $100,000 fine for us. Get it together. Get that mind right.
I will be here for every game.